Bandiazo, back at it again with another feature card buddy fight deck profile. This time it's on my other Garga deck, the one I mentioned before, where I use a bunch of healing stuff. So I kind of call this one like Dra-Medic or Healers. I haven't decided yet, but I'm going to call it one of the two. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the Patreon. And let's get started. So we're starting with our size zeros. Oh wait, our flag, obviously Dragon World. And our buddy is Awakened Deity Gargantuan Dragon. This is all the stuff I didn't use in my aggressive Garga deck. And y'all know what Awakened Deity does, but just in case you guys don't remember, he has 7k power, 4k defense, critical of 2. You can use with all flags. He has Penetrate, and then he has Cheat Evo. That's pretty much it. He's kind of like a worse version of Garga, but he's the only thing I got right now, so yeah. So for our size zeros, we have 2 copies of Garbat. 2k power, 2k defense, critical of 1. Counteract. Choose a monster in your field, and you may put Garbat from your field into the drop zone. If you do, the next time that monster be destroyed, it stays in the field for this turn only. So if it would to be destroyed this turn, that first time it would not be destroyed. Really nice. But that does not get around move to the drop zone. Like say if something had the text where it says when it attacks, move something from the opponent's field to the drop zone, that doesn't count as destroyed, so Garbat can't prevent that, but it can prevent the monster from being destroyed, like by an attack or an ability. Next up, our last size 0, 2 of Gar Ostrich. 2k power, 2k defense, critical 1, so same stats as Garbat, but at the end of the battle, that this card, you put this card from your field into the drop zone. If you do, you gain 2 life. So this works if your opponent attacks you and this thing's being attacked. If it lives through that battle, you can kill it, you gain 2 life. Or if it's attacking, which most people do for the aggressive, where you call this to center, Garga here, and then something else here, and then the item equipped, then you can go like stack that. I've had turns where I've let my opponent attack it, and then I've just defended it with Combat Deity Shield, and then just gained 2 life from that, and then killed Ostrich to gain another 2 life. Now into our size 1s, 2 of Mount Gardra. 3k power, 2k defense, critical 1 when a monster in the opponent's field is destroyed, gain a gauge, and gain a life, and it has a move. Really nice, it's really good. Like I said before, like yesterday, True Awakening of Deities, the support for Astro Dragons, well basically you guys know what that thing is, support for Magic World Legion, Dramagi, support for the regular Garga, support for Lake Dragonor, support for a new Magic World deck, support for Astro Dragon, support for a new Ancient World deck, support for Lost World. You get all that stuff. True Awakening Deities has come out with a new Garga. It's kind of like Cyclone mode, but better. I'm running that in this deck, along with the new item that I'm buying. Question is, I don't know how I'm going to work it out. Maybe you guys can help me with that. Next, we run 2 of Garber, taking it easy, what some people did after the tourneys. I did not partake because I was too busy with family stuff. So it has 3k power, 3k defense, critical of 1, counteract. If you have a Dragon on your field, call it anywhere. You can call it to your center, you can call it to your left or right. When this card is destroyed, put the top card of your deck into your gauge and you gain a life. Pretty much like defensive wall, kind of, and it defends you. Run Garbert at 4. I've seen people run it at 4. I don't understand why they run it at 4, besides the fact it can be used as a wall, but run it at 4. Run a Mount at 4. Gar Ostrich at 4, and then just cut out Garbat for that extra Ostrich. 2 of Guard Dog in the Sunlight Forest. This one I would run over Garbird 4. Guard Dog in Sunlight Forest, 4k power, 1k defense, critical of 1. When it attacks, if you have another Deity Dragon Tribe on your field, you gain 2 life. Really good, because that just means on attack you gain a free 2 life for no apparent reason. As long as you have another Deity Dragon Tribe on the field, you have the set spell, you have the item, you have whatever. Just gain life. And then the card that combos life with, and in this deck, you run 4 of if you have 4, or run it at the max that you possibly can if you have the max. As Taki's the best Gark. I run him at 2 because I only own 2, but I wish I had 2 more. 5k power, 1k defense, critical of 1. When you gain life by any means, buddy call, card effect. Pretty much that's it. put the top card of your deck into the gauge, and you gain another life. Then if you have a Dragon on your field, draw one. This ability only activates once per turn. The reason why it says this ability only activates once per turn, because if you notice earlier on in the card text, it says charge and draw, and then if you have a drag on your, it says charge and gain one, and then if you have a drag on your field, draw one. Basically the once per turn effect is there for one, you don't deck out, just in case you have a drag on your field. Actually, you would deck out anyways. And then two, that means you basically have an infinite supply of life until you decide to stop this ability. Broken. We're at 4 still, because it's really good. Now on to our size 2s. One copy of Gargantua Crush mode. This I will run in that Garga Destroy by Effect deck because he does destroy by effects. 8k power, 6k defense, critical of 3. Pay 2 gauge to put the top card deck into soul, but not in calm by that cost because of G-Evo. When he enters the field, destroy a monster on the opponent's field. Then if you enter by G-Evo, destroy a card. Now he's good because he just destroys things when he's placed. But that destroy a card, it has instead after it, as in you either, basically if it's called by G-Evo, you can't destroy a card and then a monster, you can only destroy one. But if it's placed by G-Evo, the good news is you can destroy anything. You can destroy a set spell, you can destroy an item, you can destroy a monster, you can destroy whatever at that point. 2 copies of Sturmguard Dragon. Some people say if it's a size 2 and it's not Garga, it's crap. Well, you know what? You're wrong, because this thing gets the best out of life gain. 5k power, 1k defense, critical of 2, pay a gauge and put the top card of your deck into its soul. When this card attacks, if you have 5 life or more, it gets +1 crit and double attack, and has move and soul guard. You see, it's not bad. My philosophy is that if it has move and it's not a Garga, it's okay. Because that means you can just move it into the center. It's a good first turn play, then you can go equip an item, call it, attack whichever one has a higher crit or better ability. That one becomes your opponent's turn. Move the size 2 into the center, and then after they kill, you can go, hey, look at that, I can now call my Garga, see? And it's a good thing for Garga too, so anyone who says that is wrong. Plus, since you're mostly have 5 life or more the whole entire time, that's a really good shot for like an extra crit and double attack. And if you don't have 5 life or more with this deck, then you're probably gonna lose regardless. 3 of Slash mode. 10k power, 5k defense, critical 3. It's just 2 gauge, but it has Soul Guard and Penetrate. Basically, it's relying on you to call it from G-Evo. And when it enters the field, it gets double attack. Then if entered by G-Evo, stand an item. Problem is that item thing doesn't really work in this deck if you don't have it. And actually, this isn't the most important G-Evo one. This is Recover mode. Can you guess why? It's paid 2 gauge, put top card next to Soul, 6k power, 7k defense, critical 3. When enters your field, you gain 1 life. Then if entered by G-Evo, you gain another 2, and has move and soul guard. The reason why it's more important than Slash mode, who is aggressive, is because you want to gain life, so then if you have Guard Count on the field and you haven't gained life this turn, and you go into Recover mode, that means you essentially gain 4 life, charge 1 gauge, and draw 1 card. Basically, you're making up for the draw that you lost. And then 4 copies of Garga for our last size 2 and our last monster. Now on to our spells. With 2 of Gar High Ring. I used to think it was Gar High Ring, because, you know, like the 3 Gargas, you know. The Gar Trio. So it's gain a life for each CD Dragon Tribe on your field, and then you get to draw 1 if you have a Garg on your field. Well, if you have a Drag God. Basically, it's a draw thing, and it helps you search out for more Gargas, and gives you life for a Garcat. 2 copies of Gar Run Up. You can only use Gar Run Up once per turn. You choose one of the following 2. Either gain 2 gauge, or put a DD Dragon Tribe monster from your drop into your hand, and then gain a life. Basically, every one of my spells gives you life regardless of how you think about it. So most of the time, everything's gonna revolve around Garcat's abilities getting off or proccing off it. 2 of Fighting Emperor Dragon Shield. You may cast a card during an attack on the opponent's turn. You have a deity Dragon Tribe on your field. Your item and your set spell can count towards that. Nullify the attack, and then if you have a drag on your field, you gain 2 gauge and you gain 2 life. See, this is Garga's Pacific Shield for him. It used to be Combat Deity's Dragon Shield, but it doesn't matter. So, helps you proc off Garcat if you have it. If you have Garcat on your field when you use that ability and you get to charge 2 gauge and gain 2 life, you charge 3, gain 3, and draw 1. 3 Dragonic Auras, you merely cast a card if you have an item equipped, gain a gauge, gain a life. gain 2 gauge and gain a life. Really nice because it just runs more procs off a Garcat. And your items also, one of your items gain ability when you gain life. And then finally, 4 of the reprinted Deity Green Dragon Shield. If you have a Deity Dragon Trap on your field and you don't have a center, you nullify the attack and gain 3 life. Oh yeah, that's the reason why I love fighting Emperor Dragon Shield, because it's one of the few Dragon Shields that activates even if you do have a center. As long as you have the archetypal card on the field, you can nullify an attack, which is really nice. 2 of Deity Dragon Sword Guard Daggers, because we're now on our items. 2k power, 2 crit. When it's placed, you gain a life and you gain a gauge. This item's terrible as hell, but I run it because you always want to, like I said before, proc off life. And this deck doesn't really have a gauge problem. You just want to gain a bunch of life. So if Garcat's on the field, you just proc off more life. 2 of the one item that procs off of gaining life, and the only other card besides Garcat who procs off of gaining life. 6k power, 1 crit, Deity Dragon's Twin Swords, Gar Anthem. Pay gauge to equip it. When you gain life for this turn, this card gets plus 2 crit and double attack. Really nice because that just means it becomes a 6/3 with double attack. Really nice. Good stats and pretty broken. And finally, 4 of Gar Saber. A deck that focuses on life gain isn't complete without an item that you draw for those things that help you gain life and proc off them. 5k power, 1 crit. Pay a gauge to equip it. When it attacks an opponent's monsters or deals damage to them, if you have a Deity Dragon Trap on the field, you draw 1. I told you the situation I like my opponent being in when I equip it. Like, my opponent's at 2 life, and I have this equipped. And then I have another attack for 2 crit. I could go attack them for 1, and then they could decide, oh, I have to take this now because then they get a free plus. But even though they get a free plus, I can live the next attack as long as I have a shield. Or if they have like 2 shields, I can go, oh, what am I gonna do? I can either prevent them from plussing, but waste a shield on a 1 crit, or take it but let them plus and just block the other one. It's just a really fun play I like making just to piss people off and confuse them. Finally, our impact for Garga Raid Punishers. If your opponent has 4 life or less, both players have no monster on the center, and you have a Deity Dragon Trap on your field, the item in the set spot can count. Pay 3 gauge, do 4 damage to your opponent, and this damage cannot be reduced. Pretty much it. So they can nullify the impact, but they can't reduce the damage. This deck will most likely become the deck that's focused on destroying stuff, and I'll probably move Combat Deity's Dragon Shield to my other Garga deck. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and donate to the Patreon. And don't forget to raise your flag. Can you pull a buddy rare?